With last week's video on whether or not Get Out was better in black and white, I started a list of movies that I would love to do this with, but funny enough, Get Out wasn't actually my first choice. I was saving that just for Halloween, so in this video for the Borealis company, and as the Halloween special, we're going to take a look and see if John Carpenter's The Thing is better in black and white.
I'd say the ice it's buried in is 100,000 years old, at least.
I haven't seen The Thing from Another World, which is the first adaptation of the story Who Goes There, so I won't be doing any comparisons between this and the John Carpenter film. At least not for now. Feel free to let me know in the comments if you'd like to see the comparison between the two in the future. Just like in the last video, I'll be exploring some of my favorite scenes in black and white, and one element that really stood out to me. The moment I saw the UFO fly down to Earth, I got that B-horror movie feel, which out of all the horror movies to do that with, it's gotta be this one, especially because of its reputation out of the gate, opening in the theaters the same weekend as E.T. It has that indie, gritty, rough, but not necessarily amateur kind of feel that has really found its own footing and following over the years. Almost like if it was mediocre at best, it would be my favorite episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000, but it's not mediocre. Humbly speaking, this is probably one of the best horror films ever made and a masterclass in tension. Not to mention, the best Among Us movie we are ever gonna get. If I noticed the lighting significantly more when Get Out was in black and white, I noticed the blocking significantly more in The Thing. I would most likely blame that on Cinefix, who did a video essay about blocking with high and low, but it just made Carpenter's direction so much more evidently strategic, and proof that in the right hands, everything is by design, including the first segment that locked me in for good, and it's when MacReady and Hopper explored the desolate Norwegian camp.
My God, what the hell happened here?
I absolutely love how much the stark contrast creates this negative space in the camp as they traverse through one room at a time. It just adds so much more to the ambiguity of the situation, as they more likely than not leave with more questions than answers. Additionally, certain shots also create this frame within a frame effect, where we concentrate on a subject even more so. It's a strategy I would more likely than not see in a Wes Anderson movie, but when it's used like this, a little more naturalistically, it almost feels less like the director and the DP are telling the audience, this is what's important, and more like they're telling the audience, this is all you're allowed to see. Which of course entices us even further. The next segment I want to check out is kind of the opposite from the previous shot. Instead of negative space, darkness, and framing, I want to focus on how lighting is deliberately used to expose what is in the shot already. Where instead of us hoping that we can find some kind of clue in the dark, everything is out in the open. Something that this film is surprisingly good at on many levels. And it doesn't show the alien. No. Not yet, anyways. It's the back and forth between Blair and Clark.
How long were you alone with that dog?
I don't know, an hour.
I think if this is all you've seen of The Thing, you can get the story just from how these two characters are lit. Blair has the established lighting that I've talked about, extremely harsh, stark lighting, and especially because his glasses give him this interrogative look because the glare from the glass covers some, if not most of his eyes. Something straight out of a Hellboy comic if you squint hard enough. But then you look at Clark, confused, every feature of his face completely illuminated with soft, maybe even intimate lighting. Immediately, we know what's going on in their heads. Blair is coming up with a harsh conclusion, or what's called in cognitive behavioral therapy, black and white thinking.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Because with what he knows and is learning, he can't afford to not be decisive. And Clark could easily be pushed a little farther back so we see him in the dark, implying that he's in the dark. But he's in soft lighting because he's unsure of what's happening on basically every level. He's unsure of what's happening with him and Blair, though he has a really good idea of what he's implying, and he doesn't know what's going to happen with the dogs, and he has no idea what the hell just happened with the alien. By putting him in a soft light, it makes him not sure enough to think one way or the other, versus Blair, whose lighting makes him ominous without saying a word that would escalate him to that level, and in a lot of ways gives him the power in this situation.
What the hell are you looking at me like that for? What?
Okay, so the moment we've all been waiting for. Yeah, those are nice and all, but what does the actual thing look like in black and white? Well, see for yourself. Yeah, holy shit. I mean, the creature's so beautifully made by Rob Barton, who was fucking 23 at the time, and a little bit of work from Stan Winston as well, at least on the kennel thing, are really impressive no matter what. I mean, they could be shot on the blurriest camcorder in the world and they would still look like $1 trillion. Come to think of it, if that was the case, it probably would have become the greatest found footage film of all time. But with that being said, does black and white enhance the aliens? Or does it take away from it because it doesn't have the color? To make that argument, color is the reason why it goes from conceptually terrifying to actually terrifying. It's not like it's got color palettes that are out of this world, literally. It's colored like gore that we know and understand, which tells the story even further that we are dealing with something uncanny, because we recognize it, but it's not the thing that we've assigned those characteristics to. But let's take a look now at the Norris thing trying to escape. Unless this is actually a gallbladder and our throats are filled with bile, this is not the most realistic depiction of body horror color. But in black and white, our minds can fill in the blanks very effectively. And this is where black and white can really capitalize on the ambiguity of it all. Sometimes we don't have all the answers or context. Our minds finish the stories with the worst case scenarios. I would assume that's because we as a species have used that to survive and not naively lead ourselves to dangers or predators. So it's a default that we're programmed to process first. But when you take that knowledge or that processing power and use it to create an implication, it causes an effect that is substantially more powerful than showing everything in the barest form. Nothing can tell a story quite as powerful as your own head, and when you give it just enough to run with, that's where your story can really amplify. So, with all that said, is The Thing better in black and white? Well, I think for the reasons I've explained in this video, I'm gonna say yes. That being said, I have to have so much respect for the original version in color. To do this in color is nothing but impressive, but the black and white version just helps every facet of the story be told in a way that not every story can experience. The isolation, the accusations, the horrific absurdities of everything exist in a powerful way that's amplified even more when we don't have all the details of that color or select shading can provide. But let me know in the comments, would you give The Thing in black and white a shot? Is there another film you'd like me to talk about in black and white? I know Studio Media Filmmaking mentioned in the comments section that they had seen Sinister in black and white, and as someone who has never seen Sinister in any version except for that lawnmower scene, I would love to go in totally blind for black and white. Let me know, and feel free to like and subscribe for more Things storytelling.
I know you gentlemen have been through a lot, but when you find the time, I'd rather not spend the rest of this winter tied to this fucking couch!